Welcome, everyone. It's Erica with the Gallatin Valley Sentinel. We are sitting down with some of the Bozeman government study candidates, and today we have Emily Daniels with us, and we're going to be talking to her about her campaign and a little bit more about why she's running for the commission. Emily, welcome. Thanks so much for being here this morning. Tell us a bit about your background.
Thanks for having me, Erica, and thanks to the Gallatin Valley Sentinel for everything that you guys are doing. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised. Before moving to Bozeman in 2020, I lived in Greenwich, Connecticut, and New York City with my kids. I work for an organization that promotes free markets, meritocracy, the rule of law, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Have you ever been involved in politics before?
Not in any official capacity, no.
And what motivated you to run for the city commission? I think, or the study commission. I think we all can feel some tension in the air on the things that are going on in our city, and I assume that's a big part of your answer. But what made you decide to run?
Two things. When I found out about the city commission about a year and a half ago, um, I thought this is an incredible opportunity that we have here that as far as I know, is unique to
Mm-hmm.
Montana. I don't know other states that allow their citizens to restructure government. Um, and so it's sort of been on my mind for a while. And but I also I don't believe that the existing elected officials in Bozeman represent or respect my values. And I'd like to see a market-based approach to the housing situation we have here. We have a problem with urban camping. We have a problem with immigration. We have a problem with how our tax dollars are spent. And I think we need to change the powers and the form of local government to better represent the makeup of Gallatin County and Bozeman. If you look at the voter information from the Secretary of State's website, I think we're split down the middle. I don't think Bozeman is as liberal or progressive as a lot of folks think it is. And
Mm-hmm.
yet our local government is almost exclusively Democrats or progressives. And so I think we need an opportunity to review the structure that allowed that to happen.
Yeah. And how's your campaign going so far? How are you getting your name out there?
Well, I am a mother of three and I work full time. And so I have not done a lot myself, but I'm very grateful to the Gallatin Valley Sentinel for this video and for what they've done. This is a busy season in life with the ages of my children, and there are a lot of really important high profile campaigns going on right now, several of which I was helping with before I decided to run for this position. So um, I'm grateful to the Sentinel for their help and happy to talk to anybody about what they see and in terms of the importance of the study and you know happy to talk to anybody, but I have not done a whole lot to get my own name out there.
That's okay.
I also don't really see this as, I don't feel like I'm running for an office or a seat, right? I don't feel like I'm asking people to vote for me for some sort of leadership position.
So, what are your skills that you believe you possess that would benefit Bozeman if you were elected to the study?
So I met with a newcomer to town last week who was in a position of leadership in his industry. And by the end of the meeting, I think I had thought of 12 people that I needed to introduce him to. So I think my skill set that's a little bit unique is that I tend to see the pieces.
Mm,
I might not know the answer to the problem, but I know who to ask. And I
yeah.
know who can then solve the problem, and I can put them together because chances are I've met them because I'm friendly and I talk to a lot of people. Um, I also work for an organization that is focused on public policy. So again, if I don't know the answer to a question, we don't have to sit here and guess.
Yeah.
There's so much research. There are mounds and mounds of studies on effective governance, on issues of urban camping. I mean, there have been lawsuits already in Arizona and other places. There have been states that have passed legislation. Like, there are solutions to these issues. We don't have to sit around with a bunch of people who know nothing and come up with ideas, right? There are answers, and I know where to go to find those answers.
Perfect. And why do you believe that the public input is so important to this process? I mean, it's kind of easy question with an easy answer, but um, do you how what do you think the percentages of I guess that's not a good way to ask it. Do you think the public understands how important this study is? I think I'd start with that.
No, I do not think that the public understands how important this study is. So your first question,
Yeah,
about
it's kind
public
of
input.
a jumbled question.
Well, so when I think of public input, right, my mind creates an image of a family. They've been working all day, they're home with their kids, they're doing their homework, they're making dinner, they're getting ready for the end of the day. They're not people that are at the city commission meeting at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. In my mind, that's the public input, but that's not who we hear from ever. I hate to say it, but we hear from single, non-married activists. And so I would like to find a way throughout this commission to educate those families, the people that don't have the time to be as civically engaged as others do, educate them on this issue. This is a once in a decade opportunity. And if we don't get it right this time, then I see, but well, I'm sure there are other questions related to Bozeman, but I think educating the public on this opportunity and then making sure that we hear from those families that aren't showing up at
Yeah,
from the tax base, right? From business leaders, people who are too busy to go to the commission meetings,
right.
making sure that we hear from them. And that could look like polling, right? That could look like more interviews like this. It could look like us going, walking down Main Street during the MSU homecoming. Well, it's too late for that, but you know what I mean? Going to
I know.
events in areas where people are engaged and asking them, like, hey, what's the most important issue to you here in Bozeman? I guarantee you it's not, I was going to say rainbow sidewalks, but maybe I shouldn't say that. I guarantee you it's not rainbow
No,
sidewalks.
it's not.
It's my kid has to walk from football practice past an encampment to get home. And I'm working, so I can't pick them up. And the last time I drove by that encampment, there was a guy with his pants down to his knees walking around with like a zombie next to a pile of trash.
There you go. It's I'm shocked that that's what I'm seeing here. I've been here 5 years, and there was a 0% or 0% chance that I thought these things that happen in big cities would be happening in this small mountain town. I am truly uh, scared for the future of our city. So we'll segue into, do you think Bozeman's heading in the right direction? Obviously not. What are some of the things that are really bothering you about where the city is going? And you can be specific.
No, I don't think that Bozeman is heading in the right direction. And I don't think that most people do either. If you look at, there's been a lot, we're sort of in a unique position because we can right now look at a number of national polls, right? And I'm not talking about like Fox News. I'm talking about the New York Times,
Okay.
Pew, like well-respected polling. People care about crime.
Yeah.
People care about immigration. People care about the cost of living. All of those three, those three things are, I think, what most people in Bozeman would say.
Yeah.
They would not say DEI. They would not say, I want a diverse and inclusive and equitable anything. They probably are, according to these polls, not going to talk about climate change.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where they live, they might talk about housing. But again, we talk a lot about affordable housing, which is the wrong word that we should be using. We should be using market rate housing. You should be able to afford to live here if you work
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And we should be talking about responsible growth. But instead, we're talking about, DEI, other critical theories. There was a letter that came from the superintendent of schools, I think like the first week of school. A friend sent it to me because my kids don't go to Bozeman schools. And what it said was, we are so excited for double the number of non-speaking English students this year.
Sure.
They bring so much to our classroom in terms of diversity and in blah, blah, blah. And I thought, what you're really saying is we have no way of educating these kids. We are
Mm-hmm.
completely overwhelmed. And I'm not, those kids, they're here because their parents are here. I'm fine with them, with the little, like, I don't have anything against the little kids, right? They
Yeah.
deserve to learn. But let's not pretend like it's not a challenge, right? Let's not pretend like having twice the number of non-speaking English children, non-English speaking children in your school is not a huge burden.
Right.
And let's stop pretending like it's this joyful thing to celebrate. Like it's a challenge. Okay, let's face it. Let's deal with it. And let's do it in a way that actually works, right? So that these kids get assimilated into our culture. They learn English. They feel connected to the local community. Um, so I don't know. I feel like I went off on a tangent there,
No,
but
it's true. Where is the money going to come from to hire teachers that are bilingual that can make sure that the other kids aren't falling behind, or that they're not able to go as quickly forward as they should be? because no matter what, the language barrier is going to create challenges. And like you said, they're not going to feel integrated. And it's just created a whole other set of problems. It's
Yeah.
one of the things that just has to be looked at. Um, so the commission is a 2-year commitment. You sound like you got a lot going on, very busy mom. Why are you willing to dedicate 2 years of your time and work this task? We're so glad you are. But
So I think probably like you, I'm just assuming, and like most people, for a long time, for most of my adult life, I paid attention really exclusively to state and federal candidates and elections. I don't think I paid much attention to the local level. I mean, I'm the person in the booth, like texting my friend, like, who do I vote for
right,
public sewer stuff? Like, who
right.
who are the good judges? Like, I don't, I know the federal stuff and I know the state stuff, but I don't ever know the local stuff. But after COVID, when I think we all realized, especially here in Montana, where local control is a priority and very well integrated into our our legal documents, both the Montana Code and the Constitution. I think I realized like there's a lot that impacts our daily life that is at the local level.
Yeah.
To go back to COVID, all the mandates were at the local level here in Montana. Um, the urban camping, our taxes, our property taxes, policing and public safety, all of that's decided here at the county level.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought, I don't like the mandates that are coming down from the local level, and I can't just sit around complaining about it. So I have to do something. And yeah, I do have 3 kids, and they do take up a lot of time, but they're my priority. And I want them to grow up in a town where public safety and the rule of law is enforced. I want them to grow up in a town where the expectation is that you work hard and that meritocracy is how you get where you want to go, not the color of your skin. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like what we're telling these, my son has 2 hours an hour and a half of football after school, and then an hour and a half of homework. And he's 12. And I know that that's a lot, but I
Yeah.
also know that he can do it. And so I make him do it. And I feel like there's sometimes I think, is the world telling him that? Like if is that what our culture, is that what social media, and he's obviously not on social media, but is that what we're telling our kids, that you're expected to work hard, that you're expected to you know, if you say you're going to do something, you're expected to do it? Or are we telling them like, hey, it doesn't really matter if you work that hard, the government's going to take care of you. I feel like we're saying
Yeah.
I feel like we're saying, hey, if you're a family and and mom and dad are working and you're paying your taxes and you're trying to live here in Bozeman, like, might not work. Housing, single family homes are really expensive. But if you're young and single and working at the coffee shop, you have a right to live in Bozeman. And the local government is going to do everything that it can. In fact, if you're a lazy bum that lives in a camper, you have a right to live in Bozeman, and the local government is going to do everything that it can to help you.
Yeah, and you can break laws and break rules, and it's our burden, not yours. No accountability. We don't have to. We don't. We're just not going to slap your wrist because that it might offend you. And I do think that we have largely, as a society, and this started a long time ago, started with the everybody gets a trophy thing, where there are
Yeah.
no winners or losers. And I've thought about this obviously a lot. You can kind of pinpoint the way this or the moment this started to really spiral out of control, and it was with the trophy stuff. Oh, here you get this shiny thing even though you're a loser. You lost your soccer game. And I know you don't want to hurt kids' feelings, but if you can't, you have to have balance. There has to be the yin and the yang, the darkness, the light. Like you have to have a winner and a loser. Otherwise, we all lose. It's weird. It's
I
crazy.
agree with you. In fact, I was the my son goes, so he plays football at Chief Joseph, even though he doesn't go to school there. And there's like, I don't know, there's a lot of kids on that team. And so they get very little playing time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, do they not have tryouts? Like I had to try out for basketball in the
Yeah.
6th grade. I did not make the team. And I'm obviously still bent out of shape about it. But I also learned how to be a functioning, well-adjusted adult
Right.
because I learned how to deal with disappointment at a young
Right.
age. And I'm like, why don't they have tryouts for these kids in the 6th grade? Because then, if my kid isn't good enough to play, I don't have to go sit and watch all these other kids play. And if he is good enough to play, then he gets to play, and I can sit and watch him play. So I don't know when that starts. I don't know if that's like if that's tied to what you're saying, or if it's just always been the way it is here because there haven't always been this many kids. But I
Yeah,
agree with you.
I have no idea, but it's not a good thing to be teaching them, and it's just not good for their ego or self-esteem either.
No,
And
it's
we
not. And
could
they need to
probably talk
learn,
about that all
yeah,
day.
it's not good for their resilience. They need to learn disappointment and they need to learn how to push through it.
Hmm.
Try something else. You're not good at this.
Right. So why should Bozemanites vote for you? Or give me three good reasons, or two, however many
Well,
you got.
again, I don't really see this as voting for me because I very much feel like this is a committee, you know. We all want to see um, broader representation at the local level here in Bozeman, more equal representation, viewpoint diversity. Like I said earlier, public input from the families who are the tax bases here, who are the business leaders, who are bringing development and entrepreneurship to Bozeman. I want to hear from those people. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear from the 22-year-old activists.
At a minimum, we have to have equal representation on that study, because if it's a
Right.
bunch of liberal-minded people in an echo chamber, all repeating themselves and patting each other's backs, it's over for
Right.
the city. I really
Right.
don't see a lucrative future for the city of
Yeah, I agree. And I
Bozeman.
think that if it is a group of folks left of center, I suspect that their desire is going to give more power
Mm-hmm.
to more unelected officials, as opposed to reining in some of the power and giving it to elected officials as opposed to appointed officials. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important to get some folks on this board that um, share the same values that so many of us do. Limited government. And I was watching this video earlier today of Milton Friedman. There's four essential services of government, right? Protect against for the national defense. Um, that to me is the most important one. Create a judicial system, right? To adjudicate, if I drive my car onto your lawn and ruin your flowers, right? Like there's got to be a system for you to get compensation from me for that. Crime and public safety obviously is another one. And I don't even remember the fourth one. But we are so far beyond that. We are painting our sidewalks. Like that is the function of government.
Yeah.
And so I think most people would like to see us pull back on giving the local government so much authority over our lives.
Well, we are really excited for you all. We are rooting for you all. Obviously, we hope that these interviews will help give you guys some exposure, and it's coming up. So we've got some work to do, and we will get these up and shared so that you can share on your socials and with your network. And just thanks so much for being here with me today. And I hope, if elected, you will have conversations with us in the future about how the study is going. And we'd love
Of
to invite you
course.
back anytime. If you want to have another one of these, I'm available anytime. And we are just really excited for you and very grateful that you took the time to sit with us today.
Well, thank you for this opportunity to get some of these thoughts out there. And absolutely. Hopefully, the Gallatin Valley Sentinel can be a platform for community engagement and getting input from those folks that we talked about that don't have
Yeah.
the opportunity or the time to go, park downtown, walk to the city commission meetings. But we can offer them a forum to hear what they have to say.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
so
good luck. Godspeed. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.
thanks,
Thanks so
Erica. You
much.
too.
All right.